And the question is, does he have the cojones to call what he needs to call throughout the entirety of the game? Not in spots, not 3 times a game, not against Carson Wentz, who is completely done. I'm talking about against a top-flight quarterback.
Welcome to the Pond the Hockey post-game show. I'm Devin Caney. Guys, joining you for our Diamond Debate. And today, my bling is right here, right on camera. No, I did not get engaged. I know you're all wondering. It is a beautiful ring that has my hair caught in it at the moment. But a sapphire diamond ring. Here
Beautiful.
we go, to match Dougie P's from 2018.
I caught on right away because it was on your right hand that you weren't engaged.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you know, can't throw people off.
Now, that is a great item. That's a great looking item. And this would be like an amazing gift.
I'm just going to do the entire show like this.
It really is. Now, I happen to be a sapphire man. You sapphire man, ruby,
No.
emerald? What are you?
Well, mate, it would be emerald.
Emerald. You're emerald?
Yeah.
Black onyx, man.
Black
Ooh.
onyx?
Is that
Black
your
onyx.
birthstone?
What are you wearing today, though? Is that?
Oh, my little brooch, man.
Oh, I thought that was green for a second.
Yeah.
For the
I
Eagles.
gotta mix it up on y'all.
In any event, that's a really nice item.
I told Devin.
Check that out if you're.
Devin should walk around like they do British royalty with that ring on like this.
Right.
Just walk around the gallery like this, waving at people.
I feel like it's like I don't know what to do with my hands type situation. Okay, guys. So today's Diamond Debate topic is: are you all in on Jonathan Gannon's defense after 4 games? Yes or no? Right now, the majority say yes, actually, at almost 75% on Twitter. I need to check the YouTube results. But how are you guys feeling about it?
I'll let Seth handle that first
I
one
was
because
just going to say,
yeah,
Seth, I feel like I need to call on you first.
You know, last week we were talking about, first team, second team, honorable mention.
Right.
He's still in the honorable mention bracket for me.
Really?
Because listen, man.
Really?
Players
tough.
You want to know why? Because players play, and it's up to coaches to put players in position. We've yet to see a dominant performance. Even though the Eagles won this game, and even though they won last week, even though they won in week 1, the only decisive win that they've had was against, Minnesota. Now, it was a decisive win against Washington because the defense had 9 sacks. But
Wouldn't you call that a dominant performance?
It was dominant. But my problem is, you have an opportunity to dominate the entire game. The Eagles were in a situation today where Trevor Lawrence got comfortable in the second half after being nervous the entire first half and was in a position to bring this team back and tie the game. It should never come to that.
You seriously think that?
Yes.
You saw the vulnerability of the Eagles defense that Trevor Lawrence was going to bring that back in the game?
Do you remember where we fumble, we turn the ball over, the next play, Hassan Reddick comes in, strips the ball, we get the ball back. They're in a situation where if they don't turn that ball over right there, we still have a game on hand. Don't act like, that this game was solved in a way.
Hold it.
Come on, man.
Let's go the other way with this, right? They got a gift touchdown. Right, a gift touchdown to make it 7-0.
No, it's not a gift.
They created
the turnover because Jalen Hurts had no business.
No, but that's not on Gannon. All right, so let's see what was on Gannon.
Be on him, but that's part of the game.
Here's where I'll fall. Gardner Johnson was in a wrong position on that touchdown to make it 14-0. But from that point on, the Jaguars really weren't doing anything against his defense. And I know you like the blitz more. The one blitz that he did put out there results in the interception.
I understand
that. That's the best call of the day.
You're 100% correct. Yeah. But the question is, am I all in until I can see some consistency in how he's going to call the game? Listen, I want our defense to be dominant because, believe it or not, they're not going to put up 400 yards worth of offense every single week. There's going to come a point in this season, there's going to be a game in this season where we're going to need the defense to be dominant, okay? And the question is, does he have the cojones to call what he needs to call throughout the entirety of a game. Not in spots, not 3 times a game, not against Carson Wentz, who is completely done. I'm talking about against a top-flight quarterback where you have to pressure him in order to have success. He has not proven to me that he is even willing to do that now. So yes, Devin, the jury is still out as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Well, isn't that part of the maturation of Jonathan Gannon? Because he has much better personnel to play with this year compared to a year ago.
Well, that was
I
his
think he
excuse
still
last
leaves.
year.
Well, but it wasn't an excuse. It was a valid
Sure, it's
point.
an excuse.
Last
It
year,
was an excuse.
Listen,
It
I
was
would
an
have blitzed
excuse.
that team last year.
Okay, but why would you blitz? Why would you blitz this year?
Well, because
whoa.
because you have better corners,
Let me-
better linebackers.
Let me rephrase it.
Uh-huh.
The times where you blitz today, why would you blitz? Okay, you had your starting slot corner out. You had your all-pro corner out. Okay, so why would you blitz under those circumstances if the dynamics aren't any different? It's not the fact that you have players. It's the fact that you're creative enough to get a free runner at the quarterback, to force the quarterback into making mistakes, okay? And if you're smart enough and you're creative enough to do that, the personnel behind it doesn't mean anything.
Okay,
it really doesn't.
Every game is a different situation. Some games call for more blitzing. Some call for less blitzing. Now, you brought up the point early in this show that he only blitzed 3 times a day. I thought they were 3 extremely strategic type of blitzes. I think he felt that if his front 4 could just hold the line of scrimmage, let the back end do the work in this particular game. Last week, anybody could see you could blitz Carson Wentz all day, and he was going to duck and chuck.
You know what I didn't enjoy?
What?
You know what I didn't enjoy today?
Are you ever happy for 60 minutes?
I'm always. Listen,
what?
It's my job to analyze. I'm
Well,
analyzing,
yes.
okay? What I
Yes.
didn't like, was a quarterback who you had on the ropes,
Yes.
and you let him engineer a 4th quarter drive
Okay.
and put the ball in the end zone.
And I'm going to use a word that you used earlier. It is a part of the NFL analytics that we see across the board in the NFL. How many teams get leads in the 4th quarter and allow teams to come back in games because they go to the doggone prevent defense and let teams get back in there? I hate that style of football, but that is epidemic across the league.
How many aggressive defensive coordinators with great defensive players do not? They keep the pedal to the metal.
They're very few.
Oh, okay, so let's become one. Because in this city, we've grown accustomed to defensive coordinators who think aggressively, who call aggressively, and therefore put their players in position to play aggressively and make plays. Listen, the Eagles were one of the worst teams in the NFL in turnovers and sacks last year. They're in the upper echelon this year. Why? Because they're getting pressure, they're blitzing more, and they're forcing turnovers, and they're forcing bad plays.
They're also
if I'm smart enough to look at that and see that, and I don't even play the game, all I do is get paid to analyze the game. You mean to tell me that the guy who eats, sleeps, and drinks it and gets paid millions of dollars every single year to do it, he can't understand that? Come on, man. What am I missing here?
We have not had a defensive coordinator that falls under the umbrella of what you just described since the days of Jim Johnson. We haven't had one come close to it.
Here's the thing.
Close to it.
Mike, go ahead.
Here's the
What say
thing,
you?
Dave. Yep. If you watch a game with Seth Joyner, I'm pretty sure like the first word that ever came out of his mouth as a toddler was blitz. Because he's never satisfied with a lack of pressure ever as he's watching the football. Yeah, blitz more. Yeah, more pressure. So you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, that Trevor Lawrence could have been more susceptible to blitzes. But the other side of that coin is they've been pretty good with getting pressure with 4 guys this year.
Okay, but I'm answering the question, okay? Are you all in on Jonathan
Okay, wait.
Gannon?
Let me ask you a more specific question. Are you happy with Jonathan Gannon's defensive plan, scheme, play calling today?
I'm
Today's
happy.
game?
I'm happy that the Eagles are 4-0, okay? I want to see us have a dominant defense.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you happy with Jonathan Gannon today?
Well, not totally. Not totally. Not totally.
What would you change if you could fix anything?
Listen, I want to. I believe that. I believe that the game of football, Devin, is more psychological than it is physical. Okay. When I played against guys, I chirped a lot because if I was physically
Right.
if I was physically and mentally superior to you,
Right.
then I know that I could get in your head. And if I could get in your head, then my job was half done, okay? When you're playing against an opponent, okay, at this level, everyone's got talent. Everyone's got ability. What's the difference? The difference is your mental approach, your aggressive, your intellect of the game, and how you play the game, okay? So if I'm playing aggressively and I can steal your confidence, if I can steal your soul, then that's what I want to do. That's what this game is about. And you can't look at it any other way. Oh, we're just happy to win. I'm telling you right now, the game is more about how you win as it projects into the future than if you win.
If this team goes 13-3, but doesn't play the style of defense consistently that you want, would you not be happy that they're 13-3 and the number 1 seed in the NFC?
I'd be happy. I'd be pleased as punch for them to be the number 1 seed and have home field advantage. But I would tell you this: when they get up, when they got to play against Tampa Bay, the LA Rams, or the Green Bay Packers, if they come out with this nonsense that they do, those quarterbacks will make them. They'll be going home. They'll be fishing, like they say in the basketball world.
That's way far away down the road.
I'm just saying.
Reel them in, Mike.
Hey, listen, it's week 4, y'all. Make sure you remember that I said this in week 4.
Okay, I feel like every week, though. Every week at this point, we're saying, well, they haven't played a good team yet.
He's saying that.
I thought the Vikings were a good team. I thought the Jags were a good team.
Heard me say that. I've always said, okay, you play who's on the schedule. There's 1,696 players in the NFL, okay? If you're on a roster, that means you can play. Whether you got good coaches, whether you play for a good organization or not, that's yet to be debated. But you play who you play, and I don't care. That's exactly why I said I'm not going to take away from this defense what they've accomplished the last 3 weeks, because guess what? I'm not going to say they played against bad quarterbacks or bad teams. I'm going to say they forced those bad quarterbacks and those bad teams to play the way they play.
Devin, I'm going to give you a simple answer to your question.
Okay, go for
I'm
it.
happy with the way the team played today. This was a Jacksonville offense that had only committed 1 turnover in his first 3 games. On a sloppy, inclement track, the Eagles generated 5 turnovers in this game today defensively. They generated 5 turnovers. They put their offense short fields. As Mike said earlier in the show, from those turnovers, they generated what, Mike? 30 points. 30 points off those turnovers. In today's brand of football, I'm happy with their performance today, but I will say this: I'm not 100% on Jonathan Gannon's bandwagon yet.
So why you?
No, I actually totally agree.
I'm about to put this mic down and walk off the set. You gonna say that out there?
Because it's about consistency.
I'm 65%.
It's about consistency.
Yes, I'm 65% on his bandwagon.
Yeah.
But not 100%.
You just fed right into him. Here it is. Seth Joyner at a steakhouse. Right? Waiter comes around. Mr. Joyner, would you like some sour cream on your baked potato? Whoops! Whoops!
I don't eat
we got a blitz.
I don't eat sour cream.
Oh my goodness.
That was. How do you feel about that impression?
I hate sour cream, by the way. I hate sour cream.
Listen.
Yeah, as if Seth Joyner eats sour cream. Come on.
I don't eat sour cream.
Or potatoes.
He's saying no sour cream, but he's also saying,
I told him,
what?
Just bring me a baked potato with double the extra butter and cheese.
It's not,
I don't want cheese. I just want
it's
salt,
not about
pepper.
the baked potato.
Yeah,
butter,
is.
salt,
that's not
pepper.
the
That's
joke.
Yeah, it is.
That's not the punchline.
It's not blitz. See, Mike, you and everybody else thinks that I'm just blitz happy. You know what I am? I am pressure.
Oh, man.
I am pressure adverse. Because I'm pressure adverse because I understand what pressure means in the game of football. And when you apply pressure, that's where you really pressure makes diamonds.
Yep,
okay?
pressure makes diamonds.
It either makes diamonds or it cracks coal. Okay, and I want to see every single week: is this quarterback made of diamonds or is he made of cracked coal? And if he's made of cracked coal, I'm just going to keep on bringing the pressure.
Well, I will say, I know watching the game with you, you point out when a quarterback, it's easy to get in their head, right? So we saw that in Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz. You get in their head, you always say they're going to pass the ball to you. Trevor Lawrence does not seem like the type of quarterback, and I don't think the Eagles defense got in his head necessarily. I think it was a sloppy game just because of the weather and everything. And the fact that they were able to get 5 takeaways throughout this game, despite Trevor Lawrence being a good quarterback, in my opinion, is an improvement. So I think I'm in on Jonathan Gannon's defense for this game.
Well, I will say this, okay? There's a difference between, the turnovers. Okay, you get a strip sack. Okay, that's not a mistake that the quarterback made. The quarterback couldn't see the guy coming in the strip. He fumbles the ball. The ball is wet. Okay, the one turnover that the Eagles got that was a result of pressure was the interception by Bradbury because he made a bad decision.
And that's why I said that was the best defensive call by Jonathan Gannon of the day.
Okay.
It was a perfect call at the perfect time. Jacksonville had momentum going down the field, potentially could have put 6 on the board. He dialed up a blitz. Whatever he saw at that particular point, he picked that particular time to dial up that blitz, forced Trevor Lawrence to make a decision quicker than he wanted to. The end result, Eagles take the momentum back.
He had to call that blitz. He had played passive all the way down the field, and they were on the verge of scoring a touchdown. So now all of a sudden he had to call something to flip the script. If you knew all along that was the case, why not save field position and start calling those blitzes on the other side of the 50?
Because that's not what we see from Jonathan Gannon.
Okay, so now
you understand all you want.
So now you understand why I'm not all in.
Yeah, well, Devin, you can
I
take.
didn't say I was all in. I said 65%.
You can take us out. The other side of the coin also is that if you blitz a really good quarterback, he knows what he's doing, you get burned.
It's true. That is
So
true.
you got to be smart about it.
So
I'm from Philly too. I love blitz with blitz. I love aggressive defenses. Jim Johnson, the whole bit. But sometimes that good quarterback's going to burn you because he knows how to play.
When I look at good defensive coordinators that know what the heck they're doing, they very rarely get caught. You want to know why? Because they're creative in what they do. Okay. They show early that we're coming from this side, and they force protection to protect here. And then guess what they do? They drop everybody out over here, and they come from the other side. This year is the first year that I've actually seen Jonathan Gannon have a little bit of creativity. He couldn't create that last year. It was either 5-man, Alex Singleton lining up on the line of scrimmage. Every time I seen them line up on the line of scrimmage last year, I'm like, oh, they're in the blitz. If I could see it, you mean to tell me that the quarterback wasn't seeing it, to your point, Mike?
All right. Well, I think consensus is pressure makes diamonds. That is our diamond debate. If you guys want to weigh in, go vote on Twitter or the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Stick around. On the other side of this break, we have the D'Ambrosia Drive of the Game.